Theater seats appear empty, the lighting is dim.
I feel like theater is the ultimate invitation. When people walk through the doors of a theater and enter into a space, there's always that feeling of, anticipation.
A woman looks toward empty theater seats. The theater is dimly lit. A stage light shines brightly in a dark space.
They join into this communal act of sitting together and watching a story unfold on a stage.
An audience waiting for a play to begin. 4 people perform on a stage set resembling a room. A young man stands behind a large ship's wheel on a stage. The stage set resembles a ship's deck with lanterns on either side.
It's kind of a leap of faith, right?
A woman sits on a chair near a mirror. Another woman leans forward with her head on the seated woman's lap.
It's kind of this sense of, I'm coming to see something, I hope it'll be entertaining, I hope it'll be engaging, and probably everybody enters with a different kind of hope.
A woman sits alone in an empty theater. She watches toward the stage.
People come to theater for different reasons.
A woman speaks in an empty theater. She looks toward the stage.
When it comes to building community, I'm not sure there's any more potent tool than theater.
Text reads The Remember Project, using theater and the arts to help communities address the stigma, fear, and isolation of memory loss. 2 actors come on stage. Text reads excerpts from Steering into the Skid, 12 short scenes, 1 for each month of the year.
Oh, yep, it's slippery. Yeah, here's the car.
January.
A woman sits in front of a dark curtain. Text reads Angie Pilgrim, Director of Community Impact, St. Croix Valley Foundation.
So back in 2012, an organization called Memory Care selected through a competitive process 3 really beautiful one-act plays that highlight the issues that people face when they're dealing with a dementia diagnosis.
2 older adults sit side by side on stage, acting as if they are driving in a car. Text reads Steering into the Skid, February by Arnold Johnson and Deborah Ann Percy.
You know it's rush hour. How about we take the ring road?
How about a snack? How about a handful of cheeses?
Yeah, when you get done shooting the rabbits.
Okay, we've got a big interchange coming up here. Which way do we go?
A woman sits in an empty theater. Text reads Danette McCarthy, theater artist, facilitator, The Remember Project.
The plays themselves also inspired the Remember Project because each of the plays really looks at memory loss from a very different perspective.
The actors are back on stage pretending to be driving in a car. Text reads Steering into the Skid, September.
In Steering into the Skid, we see a couple dealing with this diagnosis, and we see them before they really know what's going on. We see these early stages of memory loss, and we see the couple navigating the situation that
Danette McCarthy being interviewed in an empty theater. The actors are back on stage pretending to drive in a car.
they're in, and we watch them over the course of a whole year.
So much for another Lyle and Libby New Year's Eve party.
Oh my gosh. Libby said she's through with sex. She says she's too old and she's just done with it.
Too old? Is there such a thing?
The Remember Project was definitely flexible.
Angie Pilgrim being interviewed.
We performed in all sorts of venues.
A white church with a tall steeple and cross stands surrounded by trees, followed by video of a red brick library and a tall office building.
There were churches, community centers, a library, hospital boardrooms. Yeah, it was amazing to see the different venues and how it really didn't matter. It worked wherever we went.
An older woman leans forward to reach for some fabric. A man bends over near a metal chair with a black seat. Clothes lie on a nearby surface. An older woman holds an open script and looks at it. A man leans toward her and looks at the book.
The Remember Project is an effort to use theater as a tool to help communities be in conversation about memory loss.
Danette McCarthy being interviewed in a living room setting. A man gestures with his right hand while sitting near a window. The text reads Jim Pounds, actor, program director, The Remember Project.
It's meant to stimulate feelings and emotions. It's meant to get people talking and thinking and having empathy for each other.
Angie Pilgrim being interviewed in front of a dark stage curtain.
That's what was really wonderful about the project is you get people in a place to see a performance live in a very intimate setting, and they're in this very vulnerable place talking about something that they've probably never openly talked about before. And then you say, okay, now turn to your neighbor and let's have a conversation.
A photo collage showing Danette McCarthy speaking to a large group, followed by photos of audience members talking in small groups in a large conference room.
have these guided discussions afterwards permits all of us to start from an emotional place and to start from a very human place.
Jim Pounds being interviewed. A woman speaks in an indoor setting. Text reads Julie Rolls, Director of Communications, Metropolitan Area Agency on Aging.
True community discussions are really hard to come by. And when you add the theater element to that process, I think it just makes it so much more powerful.
An older woman gestures while speaking near a window. Text reads Judy Fronded, D, former educator.
It's that power of a story to serve as a vehicle for people to talk about difficult topics, because we can talk about the character in the book, or we can talk about the character on stage.
Photo of a woman blowing a noisemaker into a man's ear. Photo of two people talking in front of an audience. Text reads Steering into the Skid October.
You get them to talk and have a conversation about, well, what could a dementia-friendly community look like?
Photos of Danette McCarthy speaking to an audience. Angie Pilgrim.
What does that mean? What do we have to do to build a dementia-friendly community?
An older man speaks near a window. Text reads Jim Seckert, caregiver, former CEO, Lakewood Publications.
So significant, the part afterwards where the community can talk together and from that create new ideas and things that they want to do. And where should we take it from here?
A man being interviewed indoors. Text reads John H. Potter, Executive Director, the Phipps Center for the Arts.
It's important because it takes a difficult subject and allows you to ease into a conversation about it and come out more knowledgeable, with greater empathy, with more understanding.
Judy Freund speaking indoors.
And so if the Remember Project can invite people to do that, oh my goodness, it has the power to be hugely transformational.
Cars drive on a city street. A Minnesota state flag waves on a flagpole. A woman speaks in an interview setting. The text reads Dawn Simonson, Executive Director, Metropolitan Area Agency on Aging.
Our experience in developing dementia-friendly communities has told us that communities are hungry for more avenues to do their work in community.
Danette McCarthy.
So with the help of the MAAA, we have been able to look more broadly across the state of Minnesota to see how the Remember Project can have an impact county by county throughout the state.
An aerial view of downtown Minneapolis followed by an aerial view of a country road.
And I think that the Remember Project gives us another opportunity to be with older adults, to be with family caregivers, to be in community.
A woman speaks in an indoor setting. Text reads Jen Rooney, ACT on Alzheimer's and Aging Mastery Program Developer, Metropolitan Area Agency on Aging.
I love that it is taking this message all around the state.
A woman organizes clothing and items on a table. A man stands against a plain background. He wears a dark jacket over a shirt. A woman and a man sit next to each other indoors on stage. A video camera is visible in the foreground. A woman with curly hair faces a laptop showing a video call with multiple participants. Danette McCarthy speaking.
Whether we're able to visit a community live with live actors in a live setting, or visit a community virtually where they might be gathering live, or we do everything virtually, we're trying to make sure that we have a high level of access for this project so that every community can have a chance to grow in their capacity to be dementia friendly.
Julie Rolls.
There is a hunger for opportunity to talk with other people in our communities.
Jen Rooney.
And so making people just more comfortable with this is my community, and people who are having memory issues or mild cognitive issues are living with me. What can I do to help make their journey easy, comfortable, and fulfilling?
An aerial view of a suburban neighborhood with houses and autumn-colored trees. Jim Seckert.
Thinking about the number of people that can be helped just by, again, going into those rural areas.
A quiet street in a residential neighborhood.
And because we need to be educated, we need to be emotionally stimulated, both from the caregiver and the care receiver.
An older man sits at a table facing a younger man. They are indoors in a kitchen setting. Judy Freund.
There's this thing about, caring and compassion and ways that you connect with people who are having difficult times.
Danette McCarthy speaking. A flowering bush is seen through a window.
Our hope is that the Remember Project comes in from a place of positivity and hope and helps a community have a conversation so that they can build on their own assets and their own unique characteristics.
Julie Rolls.
It's about building capacity in the community.
A woman and a man sit together on a stage, acting as if they are driving in a car.
It's not kind of coming in and doing this performance and then disappearing, but leaving behind the ability for people to continue the work in one way or another.
Jim Seckard.
Because the reality is more and more people from these communities will have dementia.
4 older adults stand closely together. One person places a hand on a woman's shoulder.
It really is just actors and minimal props, minimal, really very little production value, and you can tell a very human story and really affect people and have a shared human moment.
A man looks down while holding a jacket. A woman raises her arm to adjust her hair. An older woman wears a small, colorful feathered hat. An older man gestures with both hands as if holding a steering wheel. Close-up of Jim Pounds.
Stories are so powerful in that it puts a living, breathing, complex, complicated person in front of you.
Close-up of John H. Potter. 2 older adults sit closely together indoors, acting as if they are riding in a car. Close-up of Judy Freund.
And we're finding, I think, that is so important right now.
A row of people sit side by side. Their hands rest on their laps.
We have to have conversations, compassionate conversations about real people.
A young man looks to the right. A woman with glasses is blurred in the background. Close-up of Angie Pilgrim.
Though this project was focused on dementia, it really was about building compassionate communities.
2 older adults walk on a paved path in a park. Trees and people sitting on benches are visible in the background.
You know, that we've created a space where someone with a diagnosis can stay engaged in their community for as long as possible.
A view of the sun is seen through trees in a park. Danette McCarthy.
Theater can be such a potent tool to use in community building or to use for social change.
Photo collage of a production of Steering into the Skid, showing the actors and the audience.
And when we do the hard and important work of trying to really hear the perspective of other people and use that conversation as the springboard to do something positive at the local level for positive change, just think about what's possible.
Text on a white background reads, "This film is dedicated to Edward Morsefelder, whose vision to launch a one-act play competition at St. Croix Festival Theatre introduced us to Steering into the Skid, which put the wheels in motion for what would become the Remember Project." Text on a white background reads, "The Remember Project makes its home with the Metropolitan Area Agency on Aging in Arden Hills, Minnesota." Screen shows the Metropolitan Area Agency on Aging logo and the Remember Project logo. Text reads, "More information and resources available at www.rememberproject.org and www.metroging.org." Credits roll against a black background. Text reads, "A film by Hannah Robb, produced by McCarthy and Associates Incorporated." Text reads, "Hannah's work is supported by the University of Wisconsin River Falls Stage and Screen Arts Department. Advised by Robin Murray and Eric Johnson. Additional thanks to Reichel Cady and Seeger Mason." Text reads, "Program Design and Artistic Director Danette McCarthy, Program Director/Marketing Specialist Jim Pounds, Internship Supervisor and Collaborator Molly O'Connor, Executive Director MAAA Dawn Simonson, Communications Director MAAA Julie Rolls." Text reads, "Executive Assistant MAAA David Kittleson, ACT on Alzheimer's and Aging Mastery Program Developer MAAA Jen Rooney, Receptionist MAAA Angelica Gonzalez Rogers, Director of Community Impact St. Croix Valley Foundation Angie Pilgrim Ed D, Retired Educator Judy Freund." Text reads, "Retired Executive Director, the Phipps Center for the Arts John H. Potter. Caregiver Retired CEO Lakewood Publications Jim Seckard. Advisor McCarthy and Associates Bill McCarthy. Memory Care, home to the Memory Care Plays Dr. Margaret Knoll. Graphic Artist Kay Lambert." Text reads, "The Remember Project was piloted in 2015 under a strategic partnership with the St. Croix Valley Foundation. St. Croix Valley Foundation, Hudson, Wisconsin." The St. Croix Valley Foundation logo appears. Text reads, "Funders and partners for the 2015 pilot include Bader Philanthropies, the Hugh J. Anderson Foundation, the Judy and Jim Freund Family Fund, Christian Community Homes and Services Foundation." Funders and partners list continues. Angie Pilgrim, Program and Grants Officer, St. Croix Valley Foundation. Nancy Abrahamson, Dementia Care Specialist. Funders and partner list continues. Ann Johnson, Core Committee and Facilitator Gary Kelsey, Core Committee and Facilitator John H. Potter, the Phipps Center for the Arts. Funders and partners list continues. Daniel Marriott, videographer, UWRF URSCA scholar, Eric Johnson, UWRF URSCA scholar advisor, Dick Whitcomb, facilitator, Linda Robertson, facilitator. Text reads Pilot Project Tour Artistic Company, Danette Olson McCarthy, producer and project architect, Matt Sippel, director, Catherine Horowitz, sound design, Cassie Colo, costume design, Christy Taylor, stage management and properties design, Kat Body, graphic artist. Text reads Pilot Project Tour Acting Company, Denise Baker, Heidi Fellmer, Charles Numerich, Jim Pounds, Andrew Wheeler, Michael Vensk. Text reads Playwrights Arnold Johnson and Deborah Ann Percy, Steering into the Skid. Matthew Widman, In the Garden, Ellie Grabowski Cotton, Riding the Waves. Text reads Editor of the Memory Care Plays, Dr. Margaret Knoll. Text reads the following communities and their leaders in Minnesota: Hastings, Lindstrom, Marine on St. Croix, Stillwater. Text reads the following communities and their leaders in Wisconsin: Amory, Baldwin, Balsam Lake, Frederick, Grantsburg, Hudson, New Richmond, Osceola, Prescott, River Falls, St. Croix Falls, Webster. Text reads, let's make our communities dementia-friendly, where those who are living with a diagnosis of dementia will have the biggest life they can for as long as they can. Danette Olson McCarthy.